Okay. Welcome to this year's first ever International Women's Day event. My name is Stella Nyaga. I will be your moderator this day. I just want to say a big welcome to all those who are attending the webinar from the different parts of the world. We have people joining in from Asia, from Africa, I think, and I hope from Latin America and from Europe. So welcome everyone. I would like us to unmute and wish each other a happy International Women's Day. Please unmute and wish each other happy International Women's Day.
Happy International
Women's
Day.
Happy International Women's Day.
National Day. Yes, happy International Women's Day. So just a few rules before we begin. We are live on Facebook. If you do not want to be recorded, you can put your video off, but we encourage that everyone can put their videos on. Then secondly, kindly put your mics on mute throughout this season unless you are called upon to say something. Then you are encouraged to use the chat box. If you have a question, if you have a remark, if you want to say something, please make use of the chat box. Somebody will be taking notes and the comments, and mostly the questions, and we'll be able to address them. We hope that we'll be able to address them as we continue. Then we expect everyone with the proper decorum and participate in the meeting. We will have a session for question Q&A. We hope that we'll be able to give as many people an opportunity to speak as possible. I can hear some background noise. In case your microphone is on, please mute your microphone. Ensure that your microphone is muted. Thank you very much. The whole world, someone's microphone is on. Today, the whole world is celebrating the achievement of women across all social, cultural, political, and economic situations. It is also a day that marks a call to action to accelerate gender parity, because we all, each and every one of us, have a part to play in closing the gender differences. As Agriterra, we have been working and are working towards empowering women to take up leadership in cooperatives. And the first step that Agriterra does is to train the women in female leadership training. In this course, we involve both men and women because we believe that both of them have a part to play. So that is why this year, we not only have invited women to speak, but we have also invited a man that is going to represent the male species in telling us what they think about women empowerment and what they have been doing to support women empowerment. Therefore, this particular session, we will hear from 3 panelists and who will share their lessons with us about how they have been participating in their cooperatives, in their organizations to empower women. We have Sarah Nambuya, who is from Kasali Coffee Cooperative in Uganda. We will have Philip Mayo, who is from Chekorio Dairies in Kenya, and Anedi Nirenda from Chipata District Women Association in Zambia. All these 3 have participated in the female leadership trajectory before and are championing the same in their cooperatives. We will also have a video from Zambia. We will share a video from Rwanda Soli. And finally, we'll have a UN woman representative from Vietnam, Ms. Lai Vupong, who will also give us a reflection of how women empowerment looks like in Asia. I hope that you will be inspired by their different stories and that you will come out with your own call to action for what you need to do in your own cooperative or in your own organization to ensure that we are working to close the gender gap and to empower women. Now, onto the juicy part of this webinar, I would like to begin the panel discussion. So I'd like to invite Sarah from Uganda. Could you please introduce yourself and share with us one thing you have learned from participating in Agriterra Female Leadership? Sarah?
Thank you very much, Stella. And indeed, happy Women's Day to everyone here in this webinar. I'm called Sarah from Kasali Coffee Cooperative. I'm from Uganda, Chotera district. And as for the introduction, I think I'm a Ugandan. I'm a farmer, lead farmer in the cooperative, and I'm married with 5 children, and I'm happy to be a member of Kasali Cooperative and this webinar as well. One of the things that I've learned from the leadership trainings of Agriterra is that I've learned to believe in myself and fight for my space as a woman. As much as I may not be on the front line, but I've always maneuvered to get to what I want because of the skills and the leadership ways that I've learned. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sarah. I love the fact that you say that you have learned to fight for your space as a woman. And that is a very good message, and that is what we should all be striving towards as women. I would also want to invite Philip Mayo. Philip, could you kindly unmute yourself, introduce yourself, and tell us one thing you have learned from participating in Agriterra Female Leadership Training?
I think Philip is not here, Sarah, Stella.
Oh, he's not in? Okay. Yeah. Then we move on to Anedi. Anedi, are you in? You can go next.
Yes, please, I'm getting you.
Yes, kindly introduce yourself and tell us one thing you have learned from participating in Agriterra Female Leadership.
Thank you, Sarah. Good morning, all of you. I think my name's Anne Dinyerenda. I'm the coordinator for an organization in Zambia for women called Chipata District Women Development Association. I'm a married person, and I'm happy with my position as a woman. What I've learned from the Agriterra training, which is a female leadership, because for myself, I've done 2 here in Zambia, and I also went to Kenya, where I have even learned the advanced one. So I've learned that a woman can be a leader also, the man can be. If a man was born a leader, it means even a woman can be a leader also. If a man has been trained to be a leader, the woman also can be trained to be a leader. So there's 2 types of leaders. There's those who are born as leaders. It means that if a man was born a leader, a woman also was born a leader. If a woman can be trained as a leader, a woman also can be trained as a leader. So everything can go both sides. That's what I've learned from Agriterra. Thank you.
Lovely. Thank you very much. A woman can be as good a leader as a man is. Thank you very much. That is a very nice way to summarize the lesson that you have learned. In this next session, unless I'm advised otherwise, that Philip has rejoined the room. Is Philip back?
He's on his way back. I've just contacted them.
Okay, Philip, I can see you. Would you unmute yourself and introduce yourself, Philip? Okay. All right. Yeah. All right. So I think as Philip sets up his, as he sets up himself, in this next session, we will listen to a video by Immaculée Mukarubaiza, who is from Rwanda. She's one of the women who have also been in the forefront of promoting women empowerment. So I'd like to request the media team to play the video of Immaculée.
My name is Immaculée Mukarubaiza. I'm 36 years old. I'm a member of Imyugariro Cooperative. I was attending the female leadership training provided by Agriterra last year, where we learned many things regarding how we can empower women so that they may become good leaders like men or better than men. When we are there, we have seen many things. We have seen that many years ago, women used to fear. Don't join the groups like cooperatives or associations. And those who meet the group, they can't rule. And regarding the Rwandan culture also, they used to live at home, to produce children, to look after for them, and cooking for the family only. But nowadays, there is a big change because now women in Imyugariro Cooperative, no fear, they can compete, they can join businesses, activities like men. Before attending that training, the role of agriculture activities was my husband. But now, no fear, I can compete. I can get or buy good land, select the seed, and go using good fertilizer so that I might get high production.
Nitwa Munyantore Bujori Aloyizi, nkaba ndi secretary wa cooperative Twizamure Cuve, nkaba mfite imyaka 51. Turashima cyane Agriterra binyuze mu mahugurwa yaduhaye arebana n'abategarugori mu buyobozi bwa koperative, cyane cyane ko byagaragaraga ko abadamu cyangwa se abategarugori basa n'abo barasigaye inyuma mu birebana n'ubuyobozi bwa koperative. Tukimara kubona rero ayo mahugurwa byaradukanguye kuko byagaragaraga ko abadamu twumvaga ko badashoboye, twumvaga ko nta kintu bakora cyangwa se ngo bafate ibyemezo byatuma imirimo ijya imbere. Ariko nyuma y'ayo mahugurwa twumvishe ko ari ngombwa ko abadamu nabo bashoboye kandi ko ari ngombwa ko baja mu mirimo ya koperative cyangwa se baja mu nzego za koperative. Ibyo rero byaradufashije ku bw'ayo mahugurwa, niyo mpamvu dushimira cyane Agriterra yadufashije muri ayo mahugurwa. Ni ikintu rero cy'ingirakamaro twungutse, ni ikintu cy'ingirakamaro twabonye muri koperative yacu. Mbese muri make abadamu baratinyutse ndetse bumva ko baja mu mirimo ya koperative, bumva ko baja mu nzego zifata ibyemezo muri koperative.
Great. Thank you. it's good to hear and to see that even in Rwanda, that women are actually recognizing there's a clear change, and they're recognizing their place in the cooperatives, and they're taking up leadership, that in the entire value chain and the cooperative, they can actually see where their role is. All right, thank you very much, media team. I'd want to go back to the panelists, and I want to start with Sarah. Sarah, having participated in this female leadership training, how has it helped you to change your role or to change the role of other women in Kasali Coffee Cooperative? Have you been able to see certain changes? Have you been able to see any changes? Maybe you can share your experience. Sarah, you can unmute yourself.
Sarah.
Sarah, I don't know if you're talking. Maybe unmute yourself. Okay. Okay. All right. All right. Maybe Anedy, you can unmute yourself. Okay. So sorry, I can see Sarah is unmute.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Are you getting me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. These trainings have been so important and very helpful to me as a lady and as well as other ladies. And apparently, what I can say, my role has greatly changed. Why do I say so? Originally, the women were doing most of the work, but benefiting less in these activities because they would work and then gain nothing. But as a lady, as I came in, I tried to talk and convince the men to allow these ladies to participate fully in the chambers, then also work together as a family project, not as a project for men, but a project for a family because it helps everybody at home. And as a result, very many women have come on board because when they work, they've been able to get shares or to buy shares in the cooperative, and also get some portions of the chambers to carry on their coffee, and then after that they sell it to the cooperative and gain some income. So this has encouraged them to work so hard and motivated them to be part and parcel of the projects, which was not there before. But now they feel it is a family project and it has really benefited the cooperative because more women have bought more shares, and the cooperative is growing. From last year to this year, the shares have really increased for the females. So this has really changed the role in all that we do, simply because we are now considered, we look important now on the family projects. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Women are now, they look more important because they're involved in the entire family project. That is beautiful to hear. Anedy? Anedy? Yes. What has been the main challenge that you have had to encounter? Because I know that you lead a cooperative, an organization that is women-only cooperative, and with few or no men. So what for you has been the main challenges that you've encountered in trying to bring men on board in the cooperative?
Thank you, Stella. I think Sparta District Women Development Association is a women-led organization. In fact, let me say it's a women organization. So when it was starting, it was an organization for women only. So the opposite side, which are men, they are not joining the cooperative, the association, because they just know that this is a women organization. So the challenge after I learned the training for leadership, both of them, was how I can bring men into our cooperative so that they can understand, because it's not just the matter of telling them to join. It's the matter of making them understand what we are doing and what is our law and what will be their law in the cooperative. So the first thing which we do is we make sure that how can we do so that the men can understand. So the challenge was that because the men, they were thinking that this organization is only for women, men cannot join. That was the first challenge. Then the second challenge was that they knew that Chipata Dua is only encouraging the women to be to have no respect to their maybe families or in the community at large. So they were taking it in a negative way, that this is an organization which is teaching women to be unsubmissive to them, especially those who are married, even in the community. So that was the challenge also, because on their negative part, the organization was totally opposite to them. So that was the challenge which I faced, so that I can also encourage other women to encourage men to come in our association.
Thank you. Amazing, huh? That men are actually afraid that women are empowered to take over their positions, and it is seen all across the board. But thank you very much, because for sure that's a challenge, but then you are in the forefront and you are able to actually take up the leadership to encourage them to join the women in that particular cooperative. Thank you for sharing, Anedi. Philip, could you kindly unmute yourself and tell us Philip? Very good. Yeah. Maybe because we missed your introduction, just tell us who you are, and then just tell us how you have been able to support women to take up leadership in your cooperative.
So my name is Philip Mayo. I come from Chipkorio Dairy Limited in Elgeyo Marakwet County, and I'm in the board. Chipkorio, one of the board members, and in that board, I am the chair of Female and Youth Subcommittee. Thank you.
And how have you been able to support women in Chepkorio Dairies to take up leadership roles?
Yes, we have supported women in Chepkorio Dairy Limited, trained them. We have training them in sub-zones, that is in the catchment area of Chepkorio Dairy. So we have zoned the catchment area whereby we train women in those sub-zones leadership. But before that, they are trained on to be shareholders of the cooperative, so that they'll have time or they'll be elected as board members. So in the first instance, during the training which was organized by Agriterra, after the training, I found that, or I learned that women can do, or what men can do, where women do better than the men. So in this training, which we have done in the zones, we encourage them to join to be members of the cooperative or to be the members of the Dairy Limited, and then they'll start, when they become members, they'll supply milk to the cooperative. And also, in those training, more women have joined the cooperative. So I found that this training, which we organized in sub-zones, brought in more women in the cooperative. Thank you.
Thank you very much. More women are joining the cooperative because they are also getting empowered also at the zonal levels. Thank you, Philip, for sharing. And finally, probably, I'll start with you, Anedi. What advice do you have for all of us to start supporting more women to join cooperatives, or even for your case, more men to join the cooperatives? Just a piece of advice.
Thank you very much, Stella. I think my advice is that, first of all, let me say that what I used as myself together with my women in my cooperative to make men join our cooperative was that we used the training which we did with Agriterra. And the point which we used was the issue which we learned in Kenya, the MAFSAC model, where first of all, you should understand what is the problem which is making them not to join our cooperative. Then when they are telling you, you should make sure that you are getting the main point other than just getting a lot of things, because they can talk a lot of things. No, it's because women you can be reading us we are men, you know, they can say a lot of things. But for us as leaders, the way we have learned is that we should find out what is the main problem which made them not to understand the organization of women. So that's the model which we used with my fellow women here, because I've even trained the board members. So after using the MAFSAC model, we find out that the men out there, it was both. Women were fearing that if men will join our cooperative, they'll take up their positions. Then again, the men, they are thinking that if we go there, we'll be under the women. So it was both. So we make sure that we find out which was the problem, and we find that it was just a belief that the men out there, they believe that according to our culture here in Zambia, that they are supposed to be on top of women always, on positions, and whatever they are doing, they are supposed to be leaders. So because of the same now, that's when we use the model which we learned. So my advice is that whenever we want to make something, or maybe want to make people understand for what you want to do, is first of all to find out what is the main problem which make them not to understand you. So that's the model which we used. So after finding out that now it was just a belief, it was just a negative impact. So it's when now we engaged them, first of all, sensitizing our women that these men, they are not coming for the positions. They are coming to help us. Then again, now sensitizing the men and women together, because sometimes we are doing our sensitization, leaving men out. So now our sensitization, we are doing them both, men and women, so that the men can understand their law, the women can understand their law. Altogether, at least we can achieve. So after that, now we have seen that even starting from our board, because our board was 100% women, but this time 30% are men. The women which are in the board have understand that they are supposed to have these people who can also help, not who can come and get their position. So it's just a matter of understanding what is the main problem, so that whenever you are trying to find a solution, you are finding a solution for a main problem. So that's what we have done. So I'm advising my fellow women there, or organization, that let's find out what is the main problem before we can come out for the solution. So that's what I've learned from Agriterra, which we have used in our cooperative. This time we are working together, men and women, including youth. So that's my advice. I thank you.
Yeah, amazing. Thank you very much. Understanding the problem, because you cannot solve anything if you don't understand the problem. So you need to understand the problem first, and then you need to sensitize both men and women so that each of them can understand their roles. That is amazing. That is very good. And then you have talked about the MAFSAC model. Maybe very briefly, can you explain what that MAFSAC model is? For those who are listening and have not heard about MAFSAC model, just briefly.
Yeah. Yes, please. The MAFSAC model is that There's M, A, S, A, and C. So the M is the message. What is the message which these people are talking? What is it? Then the A is active listening, because for me to get that message, I'm supposed to be active listening. Then after now, I listen, I should summarize, because there's a lot which this person is talking, so I should summarize. Which is it? Which is the main point? So after summarizing now, I should come to agreement, because it's not just myself, if I understand there and say, this is a problem. We should come to agreement with those people who are complaining, or those people maybe who have a challenge. We summarize, is it the main problem? So both of you now, you agree. That's the person who tells you a story and you understand, so you should agree. That's the A. So after the A, there's a control now. You should control now the situation. At the end of the story which you are talking, you find that you have a point, or you have a main problem, because you have used the maps up. We were listening, you were at least summarizing, further asking questions so that you can get what that person is really telling you. Then you listen, you make sure that you are getting what that person is saying. You summarize, you agree, then you control. That's the MAPSAC model which I use.
Amazing. Thank you very much. We learn something new each and every time. And I believe that the MAPSAC model was shared among the participants who were able to join the masterclass. And this is something that that is part of key thing in empowering women, so that they're able to understand how to communicate, what message they want to communicate. And this one brings in a lot of ownership and more women actually wanting to belong to leadership and to cooperatives. Thank you, Anedy. Philip, what advice do you have for men? Because you are a man that is representing the other men on this platform and in many other platforms. What advice do you have for men to really support more women?
So my advice to my fellow men is to have women attend meetings, cooperative meetings. That is to say, men to allow them to attend meetings, and also men propose women for elected positions if there will be election in the cooperative. So they propose them to be either for board members, and also men to be releasing their women or to attend meetings, and also men to allow their spouses to own property. Maybe start for, let's say, because we are dealing with dairy, they can give their women one cow, so that the milk from that cow will be solely for that woman when she takes to the cooperative. So that is another way of encouraging women to have ownership, and also to be motivated so that they will join the company. And also they will not know that they will know that men are not monopolizing the activities of the cooperative. So that's my advice to my fellow men. Thank you.
Thank you very much. If a woman does not own a cow, then they cannot be members of the cooperative. If they do not own a piece of land, it's difficult for them to really become members of the cooperative. So Philip says that men who are here and men who are listening to this webinar, that let us support our women by giving them a piece of land, or giving them maybe a cow, and encouraging them, propose them to positions so that they are also encouraged to take up positions. Thank you, Philip. And finally, Sarah, what ambitions? Maybe you can unmute yourself and then tell us what ambitions you have for the cooperative as one of the leaders in that cooperative, and more specifically for women who are in your cooperative.
Thank you, Stella. It's really amazing that one of the ambitions that I have is to become a board member. Our board has been imbalanced, having more men more than women, and even the women that have been there have not been well represented. We are so just blessed that at the beginning of last year in March, we were able to have our AGM, and a woman chairperson was elected for the very first time. But I've been maneuvering into the board through a very long channel whereby you have to explain a lot, like Aneda said. You have to explain, you take the message, you explain and explain for somebody to understand you, and then convince them to borrow your idea and then place it to the rest of the board. So it has been a long process to reach out to the board and to really make people understand that women should come on board, that women are capable of doing what also a man can do. And when they come together, they make a successful work. So I'm so ambitious that if I get this board, I will know whom to approach. You know, when you're sending a message, you know where to place the message, not place it on the wrong person and maybe to in the wrong time, but you place it to the right person and in the right time. So my ambition is to get on board and really advocate for the women needs and the young girls, because these people do a lot of work and they have more experience in the activities that they carry on. For example, when it comes to coffee production, they know how to do to upbring the nursery beds. They know how to weigh, they know how to pick the coffee, maybe drying up the coffee and all that. Most of the work is done by them, and they have more skills, because the gentlemen in most cases they are not so available for that work. So they are available for the work and really want to advocate for their needs in the cooperative such that they may be well represented, and also upbring more leaders. As these old people are going off board, then the young energetic people should come in, and we need a balanced board for the cooperative. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you very much. And I am happy to hear that you are with your baby in the background, and which is the reality that we are facing and women are facing, that you have to actually be with your children. You have to take your babies, even in meetings, in different meetings. But the responsibility, when you talk about women empowerment, when you talk about equality, I think it's also about taking responsibilities. And as Anedi also mentioned, or Sarah actually mentioned, it's about also family projects, where we can help each other in the family project. And that also includes babies, and the babies that you can hear in the background. Thank you very much, Sarah, for sharing. And I believe that you can make a good leader, and good luck in the ambition. It's a very beautiful ambition, being in the leadership of your cooperative. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Anedi, and thank you, Philip. Thank you so much for sharing your experiences and your thoughts on this topic. We give you a very hearty applause. You can applause. We can applause the panelists. Thank you very much. And I hope that we'll continue championing gender and women empowerment in your cooperatives. Next, we will have Ms. Lai Vupuang, who works at UN Women in Vietnam. She is the Senior Program Officer and has vast experience in promoting gender equality and empowerment of women in Vietnam. Ms. Lai, welcome very much. Please introduce yourself and tell us what has been for you the main challenges and achievement in advancing gender equality and women's empowerment from the Asian context. Welcome, Ms. Lai.
Yes. So good afternoon from Vietnam, and thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to speak today. It's my pleasure to join Agriterra a discussion on women leadership and gender issue. So I have been working on gender equality for 15 years, and including a 4-year working with the cooperative, especially support women lead cooperative and small and micro enterprise in Vietnam. So listen to all your sharing. I have some reflection, and I think that for there has been many years fighting for gender equality, and there is some core issue is still there. And I want to highlight 3 issues that I think that is very core when we talk about gender equality. I think first is I want to talk about unpaid care work and domestic work for which is a very core issue, especially in the Asia and the Pacific. The fact that a woman, for example, in Vietnam, women spend more than 10 years in their lifetime to doing unpaid care work, and this is like in Sweden is around 3 years. In South Korea, it's about 7 years, and in Vietnam, it's about 10 years. And I also think that in some Africa country, this gap is even higher. So this is a very critical challenge. So I think that in the context when we talk about economic empowerment, we talk about agriculture cooperative, is very important to talking about different policy that can reduce unpaid care work for women. It is very hard for a rural woman to start up business if she has to spend a lot of time doing, like, if there is no kindergarten provided for her, if there is no social norm that promote the sharing housework for men. So I think, and I still, like, I don't know in other countries, but in many Asia countries now, we are still promote engagement of men in gender equality, especially in housework. And for many years, it hasn't changed. So I think that is a very core issue. On the second one, I want to focus on the social norm, because changing gender equality is about changing the norms, and it's so challenging. The fact that so for example in Vietnam, when we do a national survey, and 35% of women believe that men should be the breadwinner in the family. And a global study of more than 200 countries is so that 45% of women believe that men in much capacity in being a leader more than women. So I think that perception is very challenging for all of us. It's challenging for men also, because if man is expected to be the breadwinner in the family, they have a lot of challenge in their behavior, and also create them a lot of pressure compared to women. So how to create a better condition that also make more freedom for men and women, especially in changing this kind of social norm, is I think this is also, and how we should changing this norm through all the person who you are working in the corporate, because they are all leader in different way, a leader of a micro enterprise, a leader of small enterprise. So that because for example in Vietnam, in micro enterprise is 80% is women, but when the size is increased, for example medium or small, man is in the majority. So and the last one is about engaging men in gender equality. In the panel discussion today, you having a man, so congratulate that you have arranged to have this man to speak, because it's very important. But working with men is also require a lot of approach that I think for many of us who are women, we need to learn. And it's also very challenging, because we also working with men, and in many cases when their gender is also challenged, when men promote gender equality, they will say, okay, what happened with those men? Because in many ways, man is benefiting from gender equality, and now you are challenging gender equality. So So that is working with men is require a lot of new approach that we need to learn. And I really think that is very important for us, that we have to work with men to promote men, but how to work with them, that is something that we still have to think a lot. And my final reflection is about the COVID-19. Today we're talking about the leadership, but you know, all our study at the global level show that the impact of the COVID-19 to all the progress on gender equality, especially on decent work for women, because women are more challenging, losing job, losing the quality of job, and also it's more challenging for them to access to resource. So in the context where we support a cooperative, we need a lot of more discussion and analysis so that we can better provide support to women. And finally, a point that we have not discussed about, which is about the violence against women, because in the context of the COVID, it has significantly increased in some countries, even from 30% to 300%. So that is also a question: is what is the role of the corporate, the role of the small and the micro enterprise in promoting gender equality? So the social responsibility side of that. So I think that is some my fall reflection that I have to think. I think about when I listen to all your sharing. I really hope that in the context of COVID, more gender analysis could be done so that we have different kind of gender responsive response that can provide much better support to corporate, because we know that women who get the startup and running the cooperative much more challenged than men. So thank you very much.
Lovely. Thank you very much, Lai, and thank you for sharing. And indeed, these are some of the things that we are facing in the cooperatives, in organizations, because we have to look at gender as a whole. We have to look at it from household level. We have to look at it at organization level. We have to look at it globally. So thank you very much for sharing. And one thing that I love is that you mentioned that we actually have to start doing gender analysis, and we have to be clear on that, because without understanding and analyzing how gender is in our cooperatives and in our organizations, then it becomes also difficult to address it. And you mentioned something very important about COVID-19. It's something that we are talking about as it's happening and it is affecting us. But then how is it affecting us in terms of gender? How is it affecting us in terms of trying to empower women? Because yes, women have really been affected, but we need to get into what can we do, especially in this particular time. Thank you so much for sharing. Thank you very, very much. Now I'd like to open it up for a discussion and some questions to those who are joining us. If you have a question to Lai or a question to one of the participants, and I'd also want to invite Batine, because you have been looking at the chat. If there's a question in the chat, probably you can start with that. If not, please raise your hand using the icon, and we will give you a chance to ask a question.
Thank you, Stella. There are no questions in the chat so far, only people thanking participants and speakers. But perhaps, if you have a question to one of the speakers or to someone else or within Agriterra, please share your message on the chat box.
Okay, thank you. Yes. Ruth, you can ask a question.
Yes, thank you very much, Stella. That your hosting is quite superb. Hearing the experiences that we had from our cooperative leaders there in Africa, I was just wondering, how can Agriterra scale up this program to more cooperatives and to also reach more women all over the world, especially here in Asia?
Very good, very nice question. And since we have Batine, our program manager, I'd like to invite her to probably share to answer this? Yeah.
Yes. Well, thank you, Stella, and also thank you for the question, Ruth. Yeah, I'm very happy that we saw these speakers also from East Africa, and so far we unrolled this program in East Africa in a very good way, but we have to also address other regions and countries, and I'm happy to say that a couple of weeks ago we did an online training where we also trained colleagues from Asia and West Africa. So this program will be unrolled also in other parts of the world and hopefully also in Latin America soon this year. So we are scaling up already. Yeah, if you look at more regions, more countries, but yeah, it's important. And this day and also this webinar shows again that it's really a topic still ongoing, and we need to work more on it and address it in a better way, and even and also more. So yeah, we have to scale it up. We are working on it, but we really need to scale it up more and better. So if there are also ideas from other participants about this, how to reach out to more women, to more men, also include men in this trajectory, I think that's also a clear lesson learned from this webinar. Then yeah, I'm happy to hear your inputs on this as well.
Yeah.
You can put your inputs on the chat or send it via an email directly to me, or if someone wants to reflect now, you can also raise your hand.
Yes, yeah, I think it's good. We keep the questions rolling. I can see some questions, and I can see one interesting question from Case Van Rai. Do you have a role model as a female leader? And if yes, who and why? I'm not sure, Case, who you want. You want someone to answer that question, or it's a question that we need to reflect on even as we go out, that we think of female leaders who are really, we can pick out as role models. And yes, Case, I can see you. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Stella, and really doing a great job as a facilitator. No, I'm just wondering, because I know that when we started as Agriterra working on this female leadership and female leadership development, that role models is one element of it. So I'm just curious to know of examples of participants here in the meeting that have role models, and also maybe general reflection on the use, or maybe it's not useful at all, of having a role model.
Okay, very clear. Thank you very much. Any participant, anyone that wants to address this, we'll only give one chance to one person.
Can I respond, Stella? This is Marie.
Yes, please.
Yes, on the question from Kes, I would say in Rwanda we have one role model. She's called Agnes Mukangirwosanga. She has been the chairperson of one of our clients called IAKIP, their cooperative. That lady is a role model because since she took the chairperson role, it was going well in the cooperative. She's recognized as bringing together the members. They were very committed. And even after going out, stepping out of her responsibility, she's now a member of the conflict management team. This shows a lot how the cooperatives really rely on her when it comes to someone of integrity, really taking decisions and willing to take the cooperative to another level. So I would say she's also a local Agripura for the female leadership in Rwanda, which shows she can really take this program ahead. So I can point on her when it comes to role model. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Marine, for sharing. Thank you so much. And I believe that each and every one of us can actually identify one woman or two who we can look at as role models. But then we also need to define from Case question, why do we actually identify them as role models? Thank you, Marine, for sharing. And now I'd like to invite Case Blockland. Case is our managing director. And yes, Case, welcome very much. And I'd like to welcome you to say a few words, a few concluding words, and really say something that will encourage us to take a call to action for empowering women in cooperatives. Welcome, Kees.
Thank you, Stella. Happy Women's Day to all of you. It's a great event and a great webinar. Thanks to the organizers, Bettine, Ruth, Esther, Stella, all who've worked on this. Very good. I very much like it. To tell a little bit my story and to come to my role models, I have to say that my awareness of a gender bias was late developed. When I was young, at grammar school, I did the science part, and in my class there was half women, half men. And those women were so bright that you could not think of any gender bias. They were extremely bright. And it only came when I got to university and I entered for the first day the classroom for economics. I was studying economics, and I saw 300 persons over there, and I was a little bit flabbergasted because only 3 of them were women. The rest were men. So I said, something is happening there. And when I asked my colleagues students, they said, yes, women do other things. They do law or languages or history or theology or philosophy, but they don't study economics. I thought that's strange because in my class at secondary school, we had a lot of bright women. What happened to those bright women? But anyway, I became also more aware when I saw that my father didn't push my sister as much as he had pushed my brother and me. We had to study, we had to complete university. My sister was allowed to go a very less difficult part. And I thought that's strange, something is happening here. But I became fully aware of a gender bias when I went to Mexico and Latin America. Machismo, as I call it over there, is spread all over the place, and you see constant indications of men being superior or want to be superior to women, and also the violent actions against women. And once it came to found Agriterra and to build Agriterra, of course, I choose to challenge that gender bias. And in 2007, when I was asked by one of the female farm leaders in a big international event, and she said, but of course, also in Agriterra, there must be a gender bias. You must pay less to women. It's happening everywhere. I could demonstrate with facts that it was not the case. In fact, there were more women working in Agriterra, even if you consider the part-time, the fact that women are to a bigger extent working part-time. Even at that calculation, there were more women in Agriterra, more work was done by women, and they were paid even a slightly bit more than the men in equal positions. So I was very happy to be able to demonstrate that. And that comes to my conclusion. If you really want to challenge the gender bias, you need some kind of awareness. Somewhere in the path, you have to create some awareness that there is some inequality in gender relations, and you need, in fact, those role models. Those women that were in my class in secondary school, they were real role models. One of them became a nuclear scientist. She was a very bright woman and a nuclear scientist. And even when she was at the age of 45, she had a stroke and she couldn't continue to do her business, her research on physics, nuclear physics. In fact, she was in things like the astronomy and things like that. And she had to close down her research because of the stroke. And then she built a business from home. She built a business because she was handicapped, and she built a business, which is a very successful business, selling online all kinds of homemade things, which is a really successful business. Another woman, which is mostly my role model, she was a very beautiful lady and very bright, and she managed to be one of the directors of one of the biggest software companies in the Netherlands, Capgemini. And those are the kinds of women which already in early years made me think of women as equal, as equally, well, even better, because they were very bright. And I think the same thing can happen in cooperatives. Cooperatives are a little bit of playground for equal relations. Remember that most countries had earlier women vote in cooperatives than women vote in politics and the national politics system. The popular vote was not installed, it was first done in cooperatives. So when you go into a cooperative, you can manage to get a very good position over there and be able to show your leadership. And by showing that leadership, you can add to that awareness of men to fight the gender balance, to challenge the gender bias. And that's something that that I would like to get out as a message today. Please go and take your position in a cooperative. Show men and show your children that women can be equal leaders as men. And in that way, we will change the world and change the gender bias. Today, at International Women's Day, we choose to challenge the gender bias. Thank you.
Thank you, Kes. Thank you. We choose to challenge the gender bias. And we all have a responsibility to actually do that, So by first, we need to understand why women are not actually participating in leadership. Why is there the gender parities in our organizations, in our cooperatives? We do an analysis. We need to empower women. We need to encourage them to take up leadership. And we need to identify role models who can really become the driving, the ones who are driving this, who are able to drive this. So let us all take that. Let us all take the call and really challenge the gender bias in our organizations and in our cooperatives. Thank you, Kes. Thank you once again for joining us. Thank you so much. The recording will be available on Facebook page because I can see that we are 3 minutes past time, but I don't want you to leave very fast because we still have a video that we'd like to show. It's only 3 minutes video from a woman leader in Kenya. And if you want to share this webinar, you can share it on your personal Facebook and kindly use the hashtag female leadership, hashtag power women, hashtag IWD 2021. So don't leave. The meeting is concluded, the webinar is concluded, but a few minutes you can spare to listen to this video. To you, media team.
Mrs. Simbole Joan from Agriterra Farmers Cooperative Society, which is under Kikelion District Cooperative Union. And I'm the vice chair of an organization called Kikelion Women in Coffee, in short, FWICO. You know, in rural areas, most women are somehow shy, but they have been trained to know how to cope with the environment and to be more confident. Agriterra has done a lot to us, more so as leaders of Kenyan Women in Coffee, and we have gone to many trainings, and I have came to learn that it has risen my role in my society, my cooperative, and my union. It has raised the potential of women to know their role in the family, in the society, community, each and every part of the world. They have came to learn that they have powers to be leaders in future. And even though some of them are not learned, but they have known how to do their works in their role. Our ambition is to see that in future, many women are in leadership, mostly in their different societies, because at first women was not considered as leaders, but because of the potential that they have gotten through these trainings, different trainings from Agriterra, they have known that they should be leaders. One of the trainings which was very important to us is which we were taken to International Women's Female Leadership training at Nairobi. Even those who are outside our country, they are also the same as us, and that gave us more encouragement to know that we should put more effort and encourage more women in our societies and also in our community to know their potential. Mostly when we learn about what we call MAFSAC came to be an important topic in the training, which everyone was very happy with it, and we took it, and as one of the witnesses, I have used it, and it has raised me more benefit to win more women in our societies and also in different forums. Otherwise, I'm thankful to Agriterra.
Amazing, great. Thank you very much. Thank you all. Thank you once again. And remember, hashtag female leadership, hashtag power women, hashtag IWD 2021. And Case has actually added one more hashtag as you share this webinar on Facebook, hashtag challenge gender bias. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining. And I wish you a very good day. And let's unmute ourselves and once more wish each other happy International Women's Day.
Well, happy International Women's Day.
Happy International Women's Day.
Happy International Women's Day. Thank you very much.
Congratulations.
Thank you all.
Thank you and goodbye. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you,
Have a good celebration. Have a good day.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.